Hello everyone and welcome into today's video where we are checking out the Tesla stock price chart, and we will also check out some news including the Q1 results from the new earnings. And just before we start, I would really appreciate if you would smash the like button because it helps my channel a lot, so thank you for doing so. And let's go. Switching to the 2-hour charts, we can see that since the last video we've unfortunately dropped down a little bit below this support. However, there was a strong buying on Friday and we've ended the week above the $700 mark, which is also just above the 50 and 100-day moving averages. And if we zoom out a little bit, those supports go to the beginning of March and this upper one goes to the January 2021. So we are approaching this conjunction of those two trend lines and there is less and less room to move. And if we take a look from the far, we can see that it looks like a huge wedge pattern forming around here. So there could be quite a violent change in the trend after we get out of this wedge over here. And to be honest, it looks quite similar to this September to November phase. There was this huge wedge as well, after which there was this huge parabolic run upwards till the beginning of January. So I think there is a possibility we could see some similar scenario happening. That wouldn't be surprising. However, there has been a lot of downtrend recently, so we still have to break some resistances in order to get to a solid bull trend again. However, checking out the situation on the whole stock market, we can see that the S&P 500 is still hovering at the all-time highs above this resistance, which goes all the way back to the 2009. So the overall market seems to be pretty bullish at the moment. The same thing goes to the Nasdaq 100 index, which is also at its all-time highs above a very significant long-term resistance. And actually, if we take a look at the Nasdaq divided by the S&P 500 index, we can see that this ratio of Nasdaq divided by the S&P 500 is still hovering above this very significant long-term support now from the top of the dot-com bubble. However, zooming a little bit closer, we can see that there is this resistance over here which is deflecting and it moves upwards of this ratio. So at the moment the ratio seems to be coming down closer to this support, and there is starting to be a little bit of a negative momentum down here on the MACD indicator, but it's still near the zero line. So if we get a nice crossover, that could boost the price over this resistance and we could expect more upside in the Nasdaq 100 and the tech sector, because based on this ratio we can see that since the February 2021 the tech sector was quite underperforming the S&P 500. So now we could see a change of this trend after we break this resistance. Also, a quite interesting thing happened with the US government bonds, with the 10-year yields to be specific, which were very low in the summer of last year over here, but started to creep up slowly but surely towards the end of the last year and also in the recent months. And we can actually see that we've broke inside of this quite a long price channel over here and did a bit of a back test, and now we are heading up again. So this could put more pressure on the stock market, because if this yield is higher, it means that it is harder, it's more expensive for companies to borrow money, whereas before it was very cheap for them to borrow new money and expand the business, etc. So if we see a continuation of this increase in interest rates, basically it could put a lot of pressure on the stock market. And if you are wondering how significant is this price channel, well, it goes all the way back to the 80s, so now over 3 decades old price channel, so it's very significant. So definitely very interesting to watch out. And then jumping to some Tesla news, we have the ARK Invest obviously adding more Tesla shares. However, this is more because they recently sold some portion and now they are buying it for cheaper basically, which is not a surprise because Katie Wood said this in the interview on Benzinga, that they are more often than not selling some shares when they feel like the market is a little bit overstretched and then buying them for cheaper again. However, they still hold most of the Tesla shares and have a pretty bullish price target of $3,000 per share by 2025, with a bull case suggesting $4,000 per share. And I think in the past they were pretty correct in most of the cases, so let's wait and see. Also, one of the reasons why the Tesla price could jump up is this new information from Elon Musk himself, because he thinks that it is quite likely, at least based on revenue, that in 2022 or 2023 it is possible that Tesla Model Y will be the best selling car or vehicle of any kind in the world, including ICE vehicles, so not just EVs, which would be really quite incredible considering that just a couple of years back they were barely keeping the company alive and were very close to bankruptcy. However, their product seems to be one of the best, so that shouldn't be a big surprise when it becomes the best selling car in the world. However, 2022 or 2023 seems to be pretty optimistic, so that would boost Tesla's balance sheet as well. However, we know that Elon is here for the long game, not for any share price shenanigans or short-term goals. And jumping into some Q1 results, which you've probably all know by now. However, I would like to mention that overall it was very successful quarter, and even more so because Q1 is usually the weakest quarter. However, this quarter was still reaching new milestones, for example by surpassing the 1 billion in non-GAAP net income, and many more highlights over here. Also the net cash outflow of $1.2 billion related to Bitcoin in the Q1, which also ties up to this news that Tesla has sold 10% of its Bitcoin. However, not because they stopped believing in Bitcoin, but it was because they wanted to prove that the crypto offers liquidity alternative to holding cash on a balance sheet, which they found out that Bitcoin has quite a good liquidity, so they want to continue on holding Bitcoin and accumulating even more in the future. And finally, we have some news about the construction in Giga Berlin. So as the many rumors in the past suggested, Tesla is really building a battery cell factory just in the Giga Berlin area, because they filed a new application for this, and it should be the new 4680 battery cell production, which they need to ramp up in the next year so they can start putting it to the new Model Ys in Giga Berlin, and also maybe distributing the new 4680 cells to other gigafactories. So far it all seems to be on track. However, in this Q1 earnings there hasn't been a lot of information about the 4680 cell, so they are probably still in the refinement phase of the production line to get enough yield. And this is it for today's short update on Tesla. I hope you enjoyed this one. If so, please smash the like button to help my channel in the YouTube algorithm, and maybe consider subscribing for more Tesla content in the future for sure. And with this, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers!